guys, Josie here with Emotional Wisdom. Okay, so this is the second time I have gone live. So I'm not sure if this is being done properly. I do see the little live icon in the top, so I'm assuming that I am live, okay? Hopefully someone can okay, perfect, I am. Okay, the fact that someone is watching gave me the indication that I am live. So I'm just gonna wait just a baby bit considering it is 3:31. So before I begin, but I kind of want to get you guys informed as to what this video is about. It is about how to caretake your negative emotions, okay? So many of us have been trained to not caretake and soothe and nurture our negative emotions. We've been rather trained since childhood and infancy to push away our negative emotions. Through where or by how? Through the mirror of our parents. Our parents would mirror back to us that essentially being in that emotion of discomfort, of pain is not okay. And I'll kind of go into that and give you my personal example of how that played a role into my life. So you guys can be able to apply it into your own personal situation, circumstance, scenario, according to the way you were raised in your household. So again, this video is about how to caretake your negative emotions because you are worthy. Okay, we are all worthy as a whole, completely. We don't need to really essentially change nothing. We are worthy as we are. So I conjured up here, I gathered some notes. I really wanted to deliver this message to its absolute highest potential. And I wanted to be extremely impactful. So I felt that if I just went off of my brain, my memory, I might discard or just leave out important stuff that I feel is super, super essential. So again, I repeat, I know I'm asking you guys to treat your negative emotions in a certain way that we were not trained or programmed to treat our emotions. Okay, so the focus here is for us to actually lean into those negative emotions, actually invite them to surface, and to essentially learn from that negative emotion, okay, and basically retrieve the message that is trying to let us know. And the only way we can successfully achieve that is by giving that emotion our undivided attention, okay? So I have here, focus on caregiving your negative emotion. And how does that look like? Deciding to be present with them, giving them your undivided attention as they surface, just as mom or dad gives their attention and caregives to that crying baby. Okay, so the same way a mother, a parent, a father, an authority figure that we learn to love, you know, innately should come up to us whenever we're crying as a baby, is to say, the goal obviously is to discover, first understand, and then discover what the child needs so we can then give it to the baby, right? Okay, the attention placed to the negative emotion is to understand what the crying baby needs. And once you discover what the baby needs, give the emotion that very thing it needs, essentially in real time, us, what we need when we are feeling that negative emotion. Those so-called negative emotions we are experiencing in our adulthood represent our inner child in need. This pain, lack you feel is a cry out for internal need to be met. So it's a cry out for internal need to be met, okay? More so than not is an unresolved experience that has not been given resolution, also known as trauma. So telling your pain, also known as your inner child, to stop feeling sad, to stop feeling bad, to stop feeling depressed, to stop feeling worthless, is the very problem. It's indeed the very same as telling them to stop needing. We are humans wired with a nervous system, a felt perception. These emotion characteristics are to alert us what is happening, or that there is activity happening in our human bodies. Everything that we are made of is interconnected. So everything we are made of is interconnected. What do I mean by that? We give power to only the mind. We think that by only changing our thought process is enough. Oh, okay, I concluded, I unveil that I'm having this particular thought process and it's reoccurring. Therefore, let me substitute it with another thought. Guys, that is not enough. Why? Because your whole body registers the experience as you are going into the experience, or the experience is happening before you. Okay, so there is all of us are playing a role here. Our human body, the felt perception, the mind, everything, all your senses are involved in this particular experience or all the experiences that you encounter. They get imprinted, okay, into your emotional body. So now, why is it so dangerous to tell your emotions to stop feeling whatever is bringing you discomfort? Because we have now become our father, our mother, and or those we deem authority figures in our lives that state, we are only worthy if you are feeling positive emotions, and anything other than that is not okay. Not okay is essentially stating we are not going to get our parents' approval. It's very powerful. We then translate non-approval to not worthy. Non-approval carries the same energy of unworthiness. Same thing. And how are we telling our kids that? Because we punish or push them away energetically. Our kids, when they're feeling negative emotions. That is the exact reflection of how we treat our inner child. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? This is very, very powerful. Literally, when we, and I will get into a personal story as far as how I can tell you from my standpoint of how that particularly affected me, how my parents treated me or reflected back, how the story that I then started creating in my head due to their push away when I started feeling a negative emotion or anything other than any emotion that made them feel uncomfortable. Okay, our inner child never got the resolution it actually needed. Therefore, those unresolved emotions are arising and repeating themselves all over again, whatever that stuck emotion may be. Note, our parents never knew how to address us. They simply treated us the way their parents treated them, and so forth. And the patterns gets inherited until we become self-aware enough to stop the self-destructive patterns. That is called evolution. So guys, I mean, I literally had to read those notes out loud, or read them and not just depend on my mind, because I felt it is so important for us to see it from that angle. I think that we fail to kind of, and that's okay, because everyone, since we were children, they taught us that we are only good enough, or we are worthy and we deserve prizes if we are feeling good. And the moment that we would feel discomfort, and the parent, our authority figure, those that we need their approval, since we're still so dependent on them, the moment that they reflected back that it was not okay for us to feel that negative emotion, we then started feeling shame. We then start feeling like something's wrong with me because they're not receiving me. So this that I'm feeling, that's discomfort or uncomfortable or sad or just making me cry, it is not okay. So I must be wrong. Something wrong must be happening to me because my parents, my authority, those that I chose to love, are not responding positively. In fact, they're pushing me away. And mind you guys, the scenario is different. Each scenario is different. In other words, a parent learns to accept the child how they are, depending on how they're able to receive their own emotions. So if the parent is not a happy parent, trust me, the parent is going to get triggered in the polar opposite. If the child is always happy and excited and thriving and jumping around, and the parent or the parents are not happy people, that's going to actually annoy them. So then they're going to tell their child, stop it. You're doing too much, or you're over, hyper, or you're too hyper, you're over behaving. So that also is a way where a child can get traumatized and say, oh, it's not good to be too happy, or it's not good to be bubbly, or it's not good to be asking too many questions. So according to how obviously the parent learned from their parents is how they're going to parent. Also, I'll get into that once I start going into my personal example of how I was affected and how the echo continued to manifest itself over and over, so you guys can apply what I'm saying into an actual experience. And perhaps maybe you can go into your past and just say, oh man, that's happened to me. I remember behaving a certain way, and literally my parents just making me feel bad for feeling that. And that, my friends, get translated to, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, that's not okay. And then we grow up feeling not worthy, which is that I personally think is an epidemic that we're encountering, is not feeling worthy enough. And it stems from all of that, from us not being able to celebrate and claim all of who we are. And all of who we are is also negative emotions. That is part of our human experience. That is part of who we are. That is what helps us identify what we like and what we don't like, essentially evolve. So we need to, in my personal perception, treat emotions, negative ones, differently. Caretake them. They're crying children saying, I am in need of this, because it was never met in the past. So going into my personal experience, when I was little, I remember this experience so vividly, where it carried over, multiple times into, it reflected back multiple times into my adulthood. But I remember going to Mexico. It was a tradition to go to Mexico once every year for 2 months, and we would go around January. We were there essentially around that time frame. And my youngest brother and I, we were the ones that were in the same track. For those that were, remember elementary, A track, B track, C track, we were in C track. So him and I had the same summer off, or I should say vacation. So we were out there, I want to say in Christmas going into January, or January going into February. I don't remember. But I remember that I was super excited. Okay, so in Mexico, they don't celebrate Christmas the same way we do. Maybe now because people are getting modernized and Americanized and all that good stuff. But they do the 3 wise men, okay? So the 3 wise men, they come around and they give gifts to the good kids. And the idea is to put your shoe outside of your door, and the goal or the idea is that every kid that's good, depending on how good they are, they get the gifts that they've been wanting, or that they want. Kind of like Christmas, we give our parents a list of things that we want, and then they kind of check that list to see if Santa Claus can get it, and according, if you're a good kid, you're going to get some or partial or even all of those gifts. Well, anyway, same concept, the 3 wise men, Los Santos Reyes, for those people out there that are my fellow people. So I remember strongly with all my being, I don't know why, I was in love with the walking doll. It was when those walking dolls were already out. You know, it's like the ones, well, they don't walk by themselves, but you just hold their hand and then you walk and they kind of walk on their own. You're just essentially holding them up. And I wanted that walking doll. And I remember, and it was tall, and I was like, oh my God, I want one. I don't know why. I just fell in love with this walking doll toy. And I, put it out there that I wanted that. And I remember telling my mom, okay, and my cousins that I wanted that. And we were in Mexico, mind you. And so I was really praying that I was good enough to get that walking doll and that I was worthy enough to get it, because again, the wise men, the three wise men, gift you accordingly if you were good enough or, whatever. So I remember that morning waking up and I was super enthused and I checked my shoe and I got toys, but I didn't get the walking doll. Come to find out, my first cousin that we were staying at her home, she got the walking doll. And oh my God, that broke me. I felt devastated. I mean, if I can begin to tell you, it was a sense of disappointment. And why? Why didn't I get the walking doll? And I began to cry intensely. It was just a crying that came from within. And my mom really didn't know how to comfort me. Like, many of us don't know really, they just kind of want us to stop. And I remember my mom tried to give me some excuses. Well, first of all, she did not validate that I was super sad that I didn't get the doll. She kind of made me feel, again, shame that I wasn't grateful for, my gift that I had, and that, I should be grateful that I got something. So I'm a child. I don't know exactly how to process, oh, I don't understand why. If I know that I was trying to be good, I know that I did everything within my power to get the toy that I really wanted, and I didn't get it, but my cousin did. So what does that then mean to me? So again, my mom didn't have the tools and the awareness to essentially be with me in my pain and give me, validate that I was sad. And then from there she didn't have the awareness to give me a good explanation for me to feel better about the situation. In fact, I felt she, I wasn't feeling understood. In fact, I felt a push away from her. Like, why are you not, hello, don't you think that the wise men knew that you were, the three wise men knew that you were going to fly back to Mexico? Therefore, it was too big for you to carry that on the airplane. We have no room in the luggage. So Josie, it's okay. And I want to say that I accepted that response, but didn't. It was almost like, okay, but I knew in my heart I was shattered that I didn't get what I wanted. I must have not been a good child. I must have not been worthy enough to get that. And I remember I couldn't let it go. In fact, we were flying back to the States and I was crying intensely, profusely saying, why? And it was weird because I even sat back and would think, when I got older, why did I want that doll so bad? So, finally, just to kind of give you, it was my birthday. I forgot exactly the age that I was. I want to say that I was like maybe 5 or 4. I don't recall, but it was my birthday, a little older maybe. But and I finally got the walking doll, the one that's tall and she walks as you kind of walk her and stuff. And I finally had gotten it. And let me tell you, this is a reflection of how traumatized I was from that experience of me feeling like, why didn't I deserve that walking doll from the three wise men? Why didn't I get that? Was I not good enough? Was I not, I didn't use those words, but those were my feelings. That's how I felt. So I remember I was so happy. Again, a reflection of I must have been good. I got this walking doll on my birthday. I remember being super excited and happy. Well, I kept that doll since I was like 18. Yes, guys, I kept that doll since I was 18 or even 19. My sister was even saying, Josie, what is wrong with you? That doll in the closet looks creepy. Get rid of it. I couldn't get rid of it. And that's how I knew, whoa, I must have really been affected immensely for me not to be able to get rid of this doll that represented clearly so much for me. Well, what am I saying here is that look at to all that damage. Of course, again, it wasn't my mom's fault. She was only treating me the way she was taught to treat her kids, is to shame them in a sense if they were bad kids, or or if they were emotional for no reason. In her brain, I'm sure it was like, why is she crying? She got some dolls or other toys. Why? Well, when a child is a child, you're still so hopeful, and you still believe in Santa Claus, you still believe in the three wise men, you still believe in wishes, and you still believe in magic. And when you realize that you didn't get something you wanted with all your heart, and then you're not validated, that your emotions your emotions are not validated, then that's when we start then creating an internal war with ourselves, saying, how I feel is not okay. How I feel, apparently it's not is not acceptable by those that I love, and I need those that I love. So let me not feel that. So that is the problem, because that war begins at that very moment. You genuinely feel that you're human. You feel sad. You feel shame. But guess what? You are not, that is not okay from our parents, who are authority, who we love, who we depend emotionally. That is not okay. So what do? Become an enemy of our own selves. Become an enemy of our sad, depressing, or any negative emotion that we're encountering. We become a negative of that. And now we grow up feeling like, oh, I can't feel that. Oh, something's wrong with me when I'm feeling sad, or when I'm feeling down, or when I'm feeling anxiety, or when I'm feeling any emotion that you deem as a negative. We then learned how to treat ourselves according to how our parents treated us. Yes. So that's why I feel such an advocacy to speak about how we should start looking at our negative emotions and foster them, mother them, nurture them, treat them like our children that need something, understand them to then discover what we need. And from that standpoint, we end the war from within ourselves, and then we feel better. We feel that authentic, genuine support system that we've been yearning all along from our authorities, from which is the people we've deemed that should care about us, or that we love, our parents, our father, mother, and so forth. So also, I want to go into the next storytelling. Just a year ago, guys, I had an echo, and mind you, I'm only giving you the experiences that were really intense and vivid in my memory. And a year ago, I remember, mind you, I have been, innately, it's been within me to dive deep and just understand why we behave in the way that we do, what inspire us to act on the things that we do. Why are we here? What's the meaning of all of this? And always trying to be good in God's eyes, So just a year ago, I remember I wanted to see this new artist that made it out to the spotlight, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed his music. And it was something to where I was really proud to see new talent arise and surface, to the public eye, that I really wanted to support him. The moment that I learned that he was going to be, I want to say North Cali, I want to say San Francisco, I immediately said, I am going to go. And when I checked the prices of the event, oh my God, yes, I'm going. So I even put my alarm on set for 10 a.m., literally when the tickets were going to go on sale. And I never had done that. I never had done that to put my alarm so I can literally get a ticket so I can attend his concert it was in San Francisco. And let me tell you, I put my alarm, I got up, I attempted to purchase the ticket, and it was sold out. I couldn't believe, wait, what? It's barely 10:02. How is it sold out? I then, from being shocked, I started feeling sad, and then I didn't want to allow myself to feel sad. So I started feeling angry. I felt angry until I started crying. I literally started crying because I didn't get an opportunity to purchase this guy's tickets. Concert tickets, I should say. And it was bad. I remember calling my significant other and being so emotional and angry and frustrated. Again, guys, anger is only a mask to our pain, to our fears. Okay, so I'm repeating here. Anger, when it morphs, when it comes out, when it surfaces, it's only a mask for pain or for anger. So as I proceeded to tell my significant other about the situation, how I couldn't believe it, he then said to me, well, Josie, let me see what I can do. So sweet, grateful for him, attempting to save the day. I then found myself, guys, literally not wanting to go to his concert anymore. Like this, I felt, I don't want to go. You know what? The desire all went away. And I just don't. I literally, being the self-aware that I am, I literally said, there's something wrong here. There's something here to be made note of. How can I have been super, super intensely involved and eager to go and see this man in concert, and then the moment that I am stripped away the opportunity and I can't go, I don't want to go anymore. I literally started diving deep and asking myself what happened. And literally, I started remembering the old emotions. I started remembering the echoes of my past until I brought it to my childhood, and I remembered, oh my God, I have created a coping mechanism that tries to protect me from feeling powerless when I can't have something that I want. Yes, so I unveiled I got to see my coping mechanism in real time the moment that I couldn't get what I really, really wanted. It was almost like my mind said, oh, you really want something, you couldn't get it? Let's kick in the coping mechanism so you don't feel the powerlessness that you felt when you were little, when you couldn't get, again, example, that walking doll that I wanted, that tall walking doll that was really popular. And immediately when that happened, I felt this overwhelmness of energy flow out of me. I even started crying deeper, like, wow. Again, a sense of relief. Crying is a form of a relief of that energy that was stuck, where it was like, whoa, this is what I do. The moment I can't have something that I really, really want, I then turn into my coping mechanism and I push it away. And that's what a lot of us do. We have different coping mechanisms, but we all use coping mechanisms to cope with deep, deep pain. So what am I saying here as far as what I then learned? Oh, wow, no wonder I didn't want to attend this guy's concert anymore, because I felt rejected. In my head and in my body, I felt rejected. I felt, again, not worthy. That's what I felt that the universe or my circumstances was saying. You weren't good enough, in a sense, like fast enough or whatever that case may be. And the only reason how I knew that I was telling myself that story, that I did something wrong, or that, there you go again, I didn't get what I really wanted. I don't want to feel, let me go backwards because I don't want to feel this pain of powerlessness. I then sat with it. So once I realized my coping mechanism, and once I realized what I was doing to myself, I then decided to go into it, into the pain, into that powerlessness, into that sensation that I had registered in my emotional body, in my nervous system. And the moment that I started doing that, I started remembering more incidences that mirrored my coping mechanism, where I had to bring out that coping mechanism to not feel the pain of powerlessness, or feel the pain of rejection, or feel the pain of unworthiness, whatever that may be, I would cope. So it was a huge release that I had. And the reason why I am going into this and giving you guys real life examples is so you can correlate the information that I'm telling you. So you can essentially see the power of how unworthiness and worthlessness and you feeling like you're not enough, or you feeling like you're not worthy, is in other words, validating how that's such a huge epidemic in today's time. How feeling that you are not good enough to get this, or feeling not worthy to achieve that, or feeling not worthy in general, how that is even an epidemic right now in today's times. And as I said earlier, it is an epidemic because that's how we were trained to treat ourselves. Trained to treat ourselves in a way where we don't have the full story. Our parents taught us that it is okay, we will receive approval from them, from those that we authorize or deem as our authority, that we love, that we will only receive their approval, their love, and their acceptance if we are feeling in a way that makes them feel comfortable. And I repeat, they taught us that we will only receive approval and love and affection and acceptance from those we needed when we were little. We will only receive it if we behaved, if we would feel the way that would make them feel comfortable. So if we felt pain, if we felt hurt, and if we were always emotional, and they were taught to run away from emotions, from negative emotions, then they're going to shame you for that. Therefore, we are then shaming ourselves when we are feeling that darkness or that negative emotion and that discomfort. So what message am I trying to exude here? Is that we need to take a different approach with how we treat ourselves when we're in pain. We need to take a different approach. We need to foster that pain. We need to nurture. We need to sit down, pause what we're doing. If you're literally in pain or feeling a negative emotion, especially with those people who consider themselves, experts, veterans in how to heal themselves or achieve, internal healing, especially you, if you are found in a situation where you are constantly running into the same story of feeling bad and saying, why am I continuously feeling like this? Haven't I ascended enough or evolved to not feel like this anymore? Maybe you need to look at the way you approach your emotions differently. Maybe for you, it is time to start, instead of running away from your emotion, stop, turn around, and go into the emotion. Go into it. But not in a space of resentment. Fine, I'll go into it so you can go away. No. From the energetic standpoint of going into it because you want to understand it, like a crying child. when a child is crying, some of us obviously want to learn, the goal, obviously, the goal is to be mother that child and have them feel safe and secure and so forth, right? So what I would ask you to do is stop. If you're feeling a pain or feeling emotional discomfort, or feeling anxiety, stop what you're doing and dedicate time to yourself, to be with yourself, to give it your presence, your full undivided attention, so ultimately you can discover what you need. And I'm telling you guys, what you need is something that you've been needing since you were a child. It goes back into childhood, even back into infancy. It goes back into infancy. So I can't emphasize enough to tell you that it's powerful, because what you essentially need to do is integrate, is as you are sitting and giving your undivided attention to that pain, you then remember and you take it back to all the way when you were a child. And then from there, the goal is to have that energy that's stuck in, to process it, or to have it processed, and essentially integrate it with who you are today in real time. Okay? So you can actually know how it is to really live and be present in the moment. I did a video that it said, are you trying to live in the moment but it doesn't work? Well, let me tell you guys, it is impossible to live in the moment when you still have parts of you stuck in the past. Those parts of you being parts that have been traumatized, aspects of you that have been fractured when you were little. You need to essentially go back into that space and time and essentially create a resolution and have that energy processed into real time. So you can really, really be able to be present and live in the moment. So yeah, I feel that I basically addressed all the stuff that I felt compelled to address. Yes, there is one more example that I wanted to go into. As far as, we do need people, okay, guys. I am not that emotional coach or that self-help counselor or whatever. I am not that coach that's going to tell you you only need yourself to heal. Yes, essentially, you need to give yourself what you need, so the mirror, being your outer reality, can reflect what you're giving to yourself. Yes. However, you do need other people. You do need support from physical people. We do need each other. We are interconnected. So we need each other. We cannot just solely depend on ourselves. But I do want to give an example. My significant other and I had a situation where he was feeling a sense of lack in an area. And he realized, he was mentioning that this is what he was feeling. He was feeling a sense of lack. And I was confused because I thought that I was in that area being very generous. And that only taught us both that he will always feel a sense of lack if he doesn't give the very attention and he doesn't provide that need, that inner child that he feels a lack, or if he doesn't give that inner child what it needs, that he's always going to experience at the end of the day not enough of that, even if someone outside of themselves is giving it to him. Okay, so that was very powerful to unveil, is that here he felt there was a lack. I felt I was really generous in that area. And at the end of the day, when there was a moment in time that I didn't come through and I didn't meet his expectation, then he felt terrible. So we then concluded, listen, even if I was to bring down the moon, the stars, everything, and fill your well up, if you personally don't believe it, if you personally don't feel worthy, if you personally don't give it to yourself, you're always going to fall short. Always. Something's going to happen to have you fall short. So that's why I say you become your own father, your own mother, your own best friend through the process of when you're going back into yourself and integrating. You give yourself those things that you were never given from your parents or from your siblings or from your friends or from your, authority figures that you've, depended on. You do that for yourself first, so the mirror can reflect back at you that very thing you're giving to yourself. I don't know if you guys remember that saying, does the mirror smile before you do? Or something like that. I totally butchered it. But yes, the mirror will not smile before you smile. It takes you to smile first so the mirror can smile back at you. Meaning you first really need to start loving yourself unconditionally, loving yourself even in your darkness and in your pain and in your depression, before the outside world can reflect that acceptance back to you. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. Thank you for those that stayed tuned watching. I love you guys, and with full acceptance, Josie here. And also, before I let you go, please contact me for a 30-minute free session. I'll be more than happy to shine light onto that thing that you may be struggling with, and hopefully we can work together, and I can continue to help you personally by custom tailoring your own journey to self-loving yourself, because obviously everyone had a different past. And so, yeah, so don't hesitate in contacting me for that free 30-minute consultation or session. You will not regret it, trust me. You will come out of there saying, okay, there's hope. With all the love and full acceptance, Josie.